Welcome everyone to Living a Legacy Life Live. Yes, it is another Saturday. It's wonderful to be with you. And I just want to give you a bit of an insight into what we're going to cover today. So, what we have is Unleash Your 2025 Goals, Re Your Legacy Project. I just want to prompt you a little bit on what you're going to do in 2025 to unleash your goals. And then to give you some backdrop to assist you in that movement over the next couple of weeks, I'm just going to share with you 9 common fears that might be holding you back. You probably heard some of these before. I'm just going to give it my take on a few of them that had a lot of meaning for me, and maybe my stories might help you. The other thing is moving forward, ask yourself why. I've got 3 points that I want to make there. Often, what we do is we'll point our finger out at others when in fact three are pointing back. And I want to just chat with you about three of those. And then I have one question that came in. So I'm going to certainly encourage you to place your questions into the chat and so that we can enjoy what's going on and I can answer your questions. So this younger, older, elder channel that you find yourself on, or if you're on Facebook and Wealth Movement, younger, older, elder, great topic. I'm an older. I'm heading almost into my 71st revolution of the sun. And therefore, I am really looking at what's unfolding over the next number of years because things are starting to happen. I'm starting to become aware of different aspects physically, mentally, socially that is influencing my decisions of how I want to live my life, my legacy life. And I want to do it in full declaration, thus, the YouTube channel, the comments on Facebook, and other places, books that you might find on Amazon. You see a couple of them in the background here. So, with today's topic, what I want to do is I just want to make sure that we're really clear about what might happen in 2025 for you. So, the idea here is to unleash your legacy project to improve focus and strengthen in 2025. Now, that's improve focus and strengthen for yourself, your within, without, your connections with others. How might you improve focus and strengthen just on a daily basis? If you actually take a look at it, what's kind of fun is the ifs that are suggested here, all right, is if you think of it this way, the ifs could be looked at as imagine futures, right? Your ifs. What if I'm going to do this? What if I'm going to do that? These ifs that you have, that's another way that we sometimes chat about them. But to unleash and improve focus and strengthen, what is it that you might be looking at doing? Something small to something big to something that has some layering to it, and you want to figure out what is it that you want to get involved with. This is the fun part of it at this point in time because each year, now I benefit from my birthday's in January, so it's sort of a natural progression for me about what I'm going to do for the year. But a lot of people treat the upcoming holiday, moving into the new year, as I'm just going to reframe, rethink through what it is that I want to do. And so, of this improved focus and strengthen, let's turn it to the without view. Out there, what is something that you would like to improve, focus, or strengthen? You want to improve the worth of something. You want to focus on the truth of something. You want to strengthen the utility of something. I am going about this living legacy life. That's what I am involved with. And I'm actually going to put together a legacy mastery course that I'll be inviting you into. And I certainly will be opening up interviews and conversations, dialogue, not asking you to necessarily fill out a form. Well, that will be there. Not everyone likes filling out forms. I get that. But I'll be inviting you to dialogues about the Legacy Mastery course to see if it's a fit for you. But more importantly, am I on track for what I think might be of value? That your thoughts in return can really help me shape and share something that's really has meaning in 2025 for 26, 27, and so on. So I'll be bringing that up. That's one thing I want to improve focus and strengthen. Is there something going on in your life in particular, maybe a decluttering of things that are around you? Is 2025 a year of some kind of movement? You may move places. I find that I'll be doing that in 2025. So I'm looking forward to different setting, different place to be, see how that unfolds for me. So we'll see that project, and you'll probably hear more about that on some of these lives. What are you thinking about creating something small? This idea of, well, maybe what I could do is just think about creating a paper or an article, or I'm going to collect some slides together and make a post on Facebook, whatever it might be, all the way up to, you know what, I'm going to start a big project. I really want to get something up and going. And 2025 is my year to set that in motion. Because one of the things that I would certainly bring to the foreground is if you're moving to that bigger project for 2025, give yourself some breathing space, right? Don't just, whoa, let's just jump straight into it and get it going. There may be other things in your life that might be influencing that. And maybe even some of the topics that we're going to be covering may say, this is interesting. What is it that we can do to take a look at it? So, what is that 2025 legacy project? That's something you want to improve, focus, strengthen in being for the world and with the planet. Now, I'm adding this little bit here is because maybe there's something you want to do for the world. That's for humanity, your fellow human kin. But there's also what can you do with the planet, all other kin, organic and inorganic, if you wish. And is there something you can do that's for the world and with the planet, or just for the world or with the planet? It's another way to look at what you might be able to unleash as your legacy project for 2025. And I would so enjoy hearing about what you're thinking about doing in the comments section, or if you go to the description, there's a place where you can get a link to the contact form on wealthmovement.com. So just drop me a note in there as well. I would certainly appreciate it. And just to assure you, you won't be put on a list, those famous email lists, and you get emails every day. That's not how I work. You will get to select if you're going to be on a receiving end of emails. I won't just take your comment and then put you on a list. Be assured of that. So let me know, comments, contact form. That would be great. I just love to hear what you're going to be doing. So, in terms of making that legacy contribution or sharing legacy stories, you can bring it all together as a legacy project. I think that becomes a simple step forward. That notion of simple, deeper, better, wiser, kinder. I offer that to you. So I think I've covered off enough about the unleashing. But what I'm going to ask of you is, are there any questions that might be related to unleashing this 2025 legacy project? Um, you can just put it in the comments or in the chat, and I will certainly take a look and see what's available to us. But also the shorts that I post up on Younger, Older, Elder, they are prompts that you can use for getting into your legacy journal that you might have. Now, this is one that I have available on Amazon, but you may have your own lined online journal that you're working with now. Give it a go. Write down ideas. If not, go to the prompts on usually every morning. There's a prompt that's up by 8 a.m. Mountain, Calgary time. And there's something in that you might go, let me think about that and write a note to yourself. So I produce those because they're sort of my way, my inspiration way, my thinking about going into the day to improve focus and strengthen my day, my living legacy life. So I offer it to you as well. So I don't see any comments anywhere at this point in time that have come in. So I'm just going to move forward with what's taking place. Let me just do one last check. Nope, that's coming in. So let's take a look at 9 common fears that hold you back from creating your legacy. Now, I want to take a look at them. Now, again, I'll put that screen up again if you want to do a screen capture. If not, they will be listed in the post section of the channel, and you can see them there, or you can come back and slow down, and when you want to review the video and just take a screen capture of them. These 9 common fears are ones that I sort of collated, curated over my years. Some of them pertain to me, and I want to talk about a few of those. Others, I've got some great stories of people I've had conversations with and how some of these got in their way. But I think what's important is when we go into them, when I go back to bringing the list up now, and I would encourage you to sort of take a look. I'm going to wait about 10 seconds or so. Look at them and sort of say, oh, there's that one and that one. You know what? Maybe he's going to say something that might help me with that. So stick with me, pay attention. I'm not going to go through all 9 in any detail. I'm going to cover off each one in terms of what they mean. But as we walk into these 9, what I want to do is share the following about the word fear. I encountered it many times when I was younger, and as I moved into my 40s, my 50s, I was doing a lot of really beautiful work around the world. Not that I hadn't done some before that, but I was really opening up other possibilities, but going deeper in my own reflection. And I was listening to Dr. John Demartini, and I would certainly recommend him. I'll put a link in the post section as well. And he said that fear is your belief that something in the future is going to cause you more pain than pleasure. And it's an illusion because it's something in the future that you're putting some weight against that you think it's going to cause you more pain than pleasure. I went, wow, okay. So it's a projection, an illusion. So why would I want to put that much time, effort, or money into that when if I find it's there, deal with it right then and there because it's not true? There is a way that I can move forward optimistically that deals with those fears. So when I go over them here, just keep that in mind. It's just something that is projected, an illusion of something that's going to cause you more pain than pleasure. So when we think about it now, fear of failure, change, rejection, judgment, unknown, insignificance, loss of freedom, time running out, being out of your league, or being out of our league. That's another one. Which one of these or two in your own mind, just sort of check or write down in your journal which ones they are. I'm going to be quiet here for a few seconds. Okay, so I'm going to jump back in. Failure, making mistakes, thinking, oh, if I make a mistake, I'm going to get someone's wrath or something's going to happen to me that causes pain. Oh, that change I'm going to go through, whatever that challenge is that I'm dealing with, but there's going to be some pain that might be associated with it. I'm not sure that I really want to go through that change, get out of my comfort zone. Rejection. Oh, I remember that one. That someone might say no to you and you haven't even had a chance to get to know them, relationships. But rejection is you put in something, writing an article, and you submitted it to see if it might get published and you get a rejection note. Fear of judgment that, people are saying things about me, and what is it they're saying? And you sort of see them snickering or something like that. And you think they're judging you. The fear of the unknown. What is it that's around that corner? Will that cause me more pain than pleasure? That came up a couple of times in my trips around the world until I sort of figured out a way to deal with that. And I'm going to chat about that one. The fear of insignificance is, will I make a difference? Am I making a difference in my life in terms of living it at this point? Did I make a difference as I came through doing what I'm doing? This loss of freedom, what's happening around me that I might have a sense that I may be put in a box, I might be contained. Maybe my age, I'm looking at the aging process and going, am I going to lose my freedom? What might that look like? Time running out. Oh, I'm in my entering my 71st revolution here in January. Is there enough time? And I was listening to, sorry, not listening, let me reframe that. I was reading a post on LinkedIn about someone and their Thanksgiving dinners, and they were saying it's the number of years that we've got left to visit with the parents, and the husband to the wife said, it's not so much about the years, it's about the visits. It's the number of visits, not number of years. And the wife was commenting on this in the LinkedIn post, and I got what she was talking about is it's the visits, the contributions, the stories, the projects, the what it is that you're bringing forth and you're birthing for the world with the planet. It's not so much about over years, it's about what it is that you are doing, the visits that you're going to share, if that's one of the ways that you want to bring your legacy to your life. And then the fear of being out of our league, or our league is thinking as something's going on out there, and am I contributing to that? That's a league of their own kind of idea. And that one came up for me is, can I be a YouTuber? And I had to go through a whole number of different ways of looking at that, being that I'm on YouTube and I've got a channel and I've published over 900 videos now, and I'm still looking at, okay, what's my subscriber count and things like that. And then I look at some others and I go, oh, they've got the more than minimum subscribers and they put 3 videos up. And now I have to remember, hang on a minute. They are in their league. They're doing their story. That's their projects that they're working on. I don't have to compare myself against them. So I got rid of that one. And what I did, and let me chat about that a little bit more, and then I'll go back through some of the others. What that did for me was I said, okay, how do I want to treat this YouTube channel? Do I want to monetize it and make millions of dollars, which a lot of people are doing? Great, 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 great. And I said to myself, I don't have any kids, don't have any grandkids. Who are my kids? I wanted to have that conversation. Who am I birthing in my process? And this is where I came to books. And again, around me, I have books that I have published. A lot of them are, I sort of publish them for myself because I want to get ideas out. Now I'm realizing I have to promote them a little bit more. So this is an unbashful prompt for legacy journals, legacy workbooks on Amazon, the Mentoring Now book that's on Amazon. But what it was I wanted to publish these books and then get them into the National Library of Canada, sort of as my children that could then be looked at over the years to come, a little bit like all of these videos that are here on YouTube. So I shifted, not that I have to be in someone else's league. I'm in my own doing what I do, enjoying what I'm doing, inviting people to get involved. So I don't want them thinking, oh, he's over here, he's in that league. I don't know if I can be with him doing those kind of things. Yes, you can. Come on over, have a visit, have a conversation. Let's see what we can do together. So we can create different leagues. We can do a shared league. I'll support your league. You can support my league. Whatever it might be. Collaboration is such a beautiful component rather than being competition. Bringing some unification rather than being broken up, fragmented. Let's get together and have some conversations about things and see what happens. Even if you have a channel around aging, living legacy, and you want to have a conversation, you've been watching this video, hey, come on in. Let's have a conversation. Reach out. I'm doing that. I'm reaching out as I find persons along the way. So great. Where I wanted to go back to was the fear of the unknown as one of them. I uh, had the pleasure of doing a trip when I was in my 20s. I thought I was going for 6 months. I came back 4 years later. I spoke about that in an About Us video if you want to go watch that. But what it was I did not know what I was getting into and where I was going to go, what was going to happen. But I went and pushed from where my comfort zone is into that uncomfort, into that unknown, and just really extending it out. And it was a welcome. It was one of the best things that I could have ever done. And what that did was that led me to, yes, I came back, did some more studies, and I went out again, but in a very different way. I went out and I was a relief officer for the Red Cross in Africa and did a couple of stints of relief and development out there. And that pushed this whole unknown storyline because I was in war situations. I was in places that were being devastated by HIV and AIDS. And it just shared with me this notion of just keep moving forward and figuring out, yes, there are things that are uncomfortable. Walk through them. As I say, I'm not going to turn and walk away from that uncomfortness. I'm going to walk towards it and in it and get into that unknown. There's some really great things that happen. Now, I'm not saying do it unsafely. Do it safely with that felt safety. You'll know, your gut will tell you. I learned a lot of lessons. There were days where I usually drove in direction A to M to X, and I went, oh no, I'm going to go B to N to X. And it proved to be useful. There were some carjackings that were taking place along my other route. So I just had a feeling that morning I wasn't to go that way. And sure enough, it paid dividends because I didn't get carjacked at that point in time. So again, listening to yourself, that felt safety, not just the five senses, but the sixth, seventh, eighth, whatever number of senses you have, pay attention to them. There's something to be said for that and helping you to deal with the unknown as it unfolds. Now, the other one that I wanted to share is I believe most people understand failure and change and rejection and judgment. But the one that sort of crept up on me was this feeling of insignificance. Now, I've done a lot of things in my life. I've been around the world, as I've mentioned. I've got more letters after my name than I have in my name. Uh, had lots of really wonderful opportunities, met some really wonderful persons. But there was always a little inkling in me about I'm not significant, I'm more mediocre. I didn't make a big splash or anything like that. I have this fear of insignificance. And that's what prompted me to go into living legacy life. It's what just said, come on, get yourself organized, curate all the things that you've done, all the models you've created, all the diagrams, the 10-dimensional learning models, the books that you've already written, books that are in your computer. I just, come on, what is it that I can do? So I've made this commitment of living a legacy life that I'll be shooting a video on it about what I'm actually going to do in more detail for 2025. It'll be in the About Us section of the YouTube channel. Come on back, watch it, and see what happens. And I'll be producing some other videos encouraging you to go, I am living a significant life. I am who I am. Therefore, my unique journey and my adventures together, there is significance here in being for the world with the planet. I'm talking to myself probably more with my hands. I'm just, yes, yes. And so I encourage you to think about it from that perspective, your significance. Okay. Your significance. It's important that you share that. And again, reach out, have a dialogue, write some comments. Let's see what happens as we interact together to be able to bring this forward. I'm going to in a few times, let me try this in English. I'm going to interview a few people in 2025. I don't know how many I'll do. It's not going to be like one a week kind of idea, like a podcast or something like that. I'm just going to reach out to some persons that I've been meeting and say, hey, listen, can we have a conversation that might be of value to others who 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s? I see some people who are in their 80s opening up YouTube channels. So let's take a look at that. I just read something about someone who, what was it, 85, climbed Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. That was the oldest person. Someone that broke that, and then she at 89 went up again and got into the Guinness Book of World Records. Whoa! Now that is taking on a challenge and giving it a go. She's also working out there with young persons. So she is living her life. There's some significance there that she's doing. I think each of us has that, even if it's with our family and friends, your grandchildren, your friends that maybe you reconnect and see what happens. Give it a go. This notion of the 9 common fears that you might have, take a look at them. Go back and listen to this section again. Go back to that slide, do a screen capture of it, and then write some notes to yourself in your journal. See what comes of it for yourself, and take it and unfold it in such a way that you get to learn what's possible about what's happening for you, with you, because of you, from you, through you, whatever it might be. So that sort of takes me now into what I'm going to call 5 ways in which to counter these fears. I'm going to go through them fairly quickly. These would be some summary points of the fears that I was just sharing and some of the stories that I just gave to you. So let's just take them. Hey, acknowledge you got the fears. Great. What is it you can do with them? If there's something there that keeps knocking on you, I have some friends who can help out in terms of dealing with some of that shadow work. Great persons if you want some assistance there. Challenge those negative thoughts. I know when they pop in, I sort of in my head crumple them up and And then what I do is I sort of, in a sense, chew on them and then I spit them out, not in the sense of spitting out. I just, and I just send them out, away from me. If there's a body of water close by, I send it to the water so it can be dissolved and taken care of. That's just one of the ways that I do it. Focus on your goals. What are your goals? I want to have this, and these are the ways that I'm going to do it. These are going to steps that I'm going to take. I don't usually talk about I need or I want. I use the word I have. I'll have this. That's my goal. Come back. What are the steps to get to having that? That's a way that I do it. Take actions, start small, build up. I've been hinting at that as well. Just take an action each day about your legacy, contribution stories project. Start small. You don't have to do something really big. You might just say, hey, listen, I've got a box of things over there on the side. Let me go through them and pick out one thing that I might want to share somehow with some people. And maybe I write a note and say, send it to a friend or leave it for one of the grandkids to pick up and we have a conversation on the weekend, whatever it might be. And then build up from there. You've got a foundation, then you can put the flooring in, the walls, the roof. If we're using a building metaphor, you might go, okay, I'm going to build up, put the soil in and the terraces and get ready to plant the seeds to whatever it might be, if you like that metaphor. And then most of all, if these are really creeping in and really influencing you, get some support. If there's anything that I have learned along the way is support's important. I've had three major crashes in my life. The third one was the because there's a whole bunch of things happen. And again, I'm sharing that story in some of the About Us videos that you can see. But that third one, I really had to dig in, get some help, and I did. And I was so grateful for getting that support with my friends because I started to run away, and that's not how you deal with things. I turned around and I ran into them. I ran through them. I got on the other side. I said, what am I going to do? I busted out of that comfort zone, started doing things that I think are going to make a really great difference for me in living my legacy life. So that support, friends, family, and if it means going and paying for a counselor, a therapist, whatever it might be, please do it. Give yourself that gift to take care of yourself. Get that felt safety built up, the seed beds. So just weave it into your life so that you have it. It's one of the best things that I ever did for myself, myself, and I, as I went and got some support to help me to move forward. So that said, let me just check to make sure if there's any comments. Don't see anything over there, nor there. Okay. So, nope. Okay. So what I think I'll do now is let's move into another one of the topics that I wanted to go over with you. And it's this last one, moving forward, ask yourself why. And I want to do that. This why question of yourself is, I mentioned at the very beginning, this idea is sometimes we go, well, it's out there, it's happening out there. And you have to remember there's these three fingers. When you pointed out, there's three coming back at you. You probably heard that story before. And when I figured that one out, and that was probably about 12 years ago when I really made some dumb decisions around my business, and I lost a multi-million-dollar business because of some things that I did, and then I lost some money along the way there. I kept going, it's this, it's out there, it's out there. And then I went, okay. And that's what started me on that support component because of things that came along. And I said to myself, okay, What is it that I need to do to figure out what is actually taking place? And this is where these three storylines came out. And I want to share something here with you around each one. The focus on the root causes. I'm going to go back into my days of instructing wilderness remote first aid. And there's a story here that'll come back to this notion of the root causes. When I was instructing my wilderness remote first aid, we had a weekend where we would go out and actually do simulations where I would have the fake blood and chicken bones for fractures and all that kind of stuff. It was great weekends. People loved it because it was more hands-on than just talking about it in the classroom. And one of the things that I always said to them is, make sure that you're very clear about what the chief complaint is for the person who's injured when you entering in. So come in slow, figure out what's going on, and then figure out what that chief complaint is, because often the signs and symptoms that you might see and the person tells you, so signs are what you see, symptoms are what the person tells you, may not be the chief complaint. And a good example of that, and this was one of the activities I always put in, is I said we're up about tree line, and someone just stubbed their toe and sat down and screaming out their toe hurting so much, and you come to them and you're taking a look at it and you're going, hang on a minute, stub toe, they're screaming, yeah, so I can take care of that. Hang on a minute, why did they stub their toe? Ask yourself, why did they stub their toe? And the point is that we're above tree line. This person came from sea level. We were going for a walk. And what happened is that they were suffering the start of some high altitude sickness symptoms, signs and symptoms. And they stubbed their toe because of that altitude injury, as I would call it. And that really got them to understand, and that in their future movement into the situations of the course, you could actually see them slow down a little bit as they entered in rather than running straight at the person. And I went, yes, 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 yes. And that's why I want to encourage you, if you find yourself in some lackluster legacy building outcomes, or that fear is there, just slow down like I did and got them to do in those situations. What is the root causes, the chief complaints about what's taking place? Just give yourself that gift of that time to figure out what's going on, because then what you can do is figure out what are ways to deal with it. So if it's a fear, I shared some ways of doing. If it's about, I don't know how to do project management because I never did it, but I'm doing this sort of bigger size project. Hey, I got some things that can help you out, some simpler project management tools called the 5Ds, and we can go through those. I'll be doing workshops on them. Maybe there's something that's happening about writing. I don't know quite how to write this recipe book. Well, I have some friends who write books, and some of them are recipe books. Maybe I can do an introduction for you. There's lots of possibilities. So if you slow down and take a look at what might be those root causes, that might be very helpful for you. So something to think about. Again, if that's one that's sort of plaguing you at this point in time, put it in the comments section. Let me know, and or put it in the chat, and let's see what we can do to help you out. The second one I wanted to take a look at is encourage collaboration. Now, this is a really important one that I learned through my work, is this whole idea of how do I collaborate with others? And along the way, I've done lots of different kinds of projects, my legacy projects now. There's some collaboration. I set up the international mentoring community with a co-creator. We're both, he's in his late 60s, you know where I am with my 70s, and we're collaborating on it. he is very much into writing his books because he's looking at mentoring and grief and mental health. I'm doing it through this legacy life, how you might serve as a mentor, and giving that a go. And that's a collaboration. But if I pull it back a little bit, and maybe I'm getting lackluster results, maybe you're getting lackluster results. Am I trying to do it by myself, or am I trying to do it in competition with some others? Because collaboration, what it does is it gets you to think about, okay, collaboration is about, yes, I can share my point of view, but I'm going to do it in a cooperative way. And therefore, the conversations I'm going to have, these collaborative conversations, the other person gets to share their point of view and be cooperative, but not in a way that we feel like we're banging heads or striking out at each other. That's sometimes what we call debate and discussion. I'm talking about dialogue, meaning flowing through. That's what you want to get with your collaboration and finding ways to do that. Now, that collaboration may be for a very short time, it may be for a long time. Like, what is it? We're into our 7th year in IMC. It's not grown leaps and bounds, but we're still there. We're still looking at it. I believe 2025 will be a fabulous year for the international mentoring community. We have a website called Mentor Practices. If this is of interest to you, jump on over there and take a look at what's going on. But the encouragement of collaboration is important because it's the way that you meet each other at the table, the picnic table, on the blanket while you're sitting there underneath the tree having a conversation about what we want to do with the wetland that's just down below us, the project you're in, the collaboration you're in. But even when you move into, I've got to deal with some bureaucracy, I've got to deal with some economics finance aspect, I've got to deal with some political aspect. Go in with a collaborative approach, this collaborative conversation approach. You'll find it to be of greater value to you. I had to help a number of what I'll call delegates who came together in Ethiopia, and there was, what was it, 13 from Norway and 13 from Africa, and bringing them together because I wanted to help them understand how to do relief operations. I was given that task. I thought I was going in to be a support staff. 2 weeks prior to the actual workshop in Awassa in Ethiopia, I was told by the head of delegations, "Hey, Stephen, how would you like to run the workshop?" So collaboration became a really major component because I had to then work with a whole bunch of people really quickly to pull in 2 weeks that workshop together. And I would like to say those collaborative conversations I had with all those people, it worked out. It was a wonderful success. People said it was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And it gave them everything that they needed to get going. And sort of the pitter patter, that was great. That's something that really made a difference. But the underpinning of that whole thing was collaboration, to be able to pull that off that quickly. And therefore, how could I get them to think about collaboration when they went back to their respective projects? And I left them with this idea of this collaborative conversations. And it worked out really well. So I encourage you to think about collaboration. And it's a topic that you can do some searches on. Kilman, I can't remember, Kilman model. I'll have to put reference to it. He talks about these 5 ways in which we go about interacting with one another. Collaboration is one of them. Another is competition, accommodation, avoidance, and compromise. And it's a great starting model. Then you can create it, grow it, adapt it for yourself. And that's not still not helping me to get back to the name. So I'll put a reference in the notes, and you can then chase it up from there. The other one that I wanted to take a look at is the courage to course correct. Some people might say pivot, course correct, practice adjustment. There's different names that you might use. And some persons may not want to do a correction. Some of the pivots that I've made in my life, course corrections, once I went through them, they were wonderful. One of the big pivots was to get myself out of that negativity of that third crash that I mentioned earlier. I had to pivot. I had to get out of that. I had to get the support. I had to make that. That wasn't just a course correction. Like when I'm doing my legacy work, my course correction was, well, do I spend time writing my books? Do I spend more time going and walking on stage? Do I spend more time? What way do I want to deliver it? And I came back to the no pants approach. I was going to do things so that I didn't have to put my pants on, my formal pants, go to stage, go somewhere, go to a meeting, go to places and talk. I'm going to do the no pants approach and be here at home interacting with the camera online, doing it that way. So that was a course correction. I had to keep course correcting. It wasn't so much a pivot because I knew that the course corrections were necessary in this living a legacy life. And so I offer to you, think about, do you have to do a pivot right now in your 50s, 60s, 70s? Maybe you're solo aging. Pivots, course corrections, adjustments. What is it that you've got to do? And then have the courage to do that. Now, the great thing here is when you think about it, courage, okay, has the word cur and age in it. So while you're aging, have the courage. Now, the interesting thing about the COUR, okay, if you take a look at you in that core, the core is actually another way to talk about heart. So it's about your heart, your wholeheartedness in your aging to do what's necessary. And if that means course correction, do so. So that's one way of looking at this whole idea of courage. And if you notice that just above, we talked about this whole idea of encourage. See the courage inside? So courage, while it's an attribute, when you put en in front of it, it becomes a verb. So have to courage to have, sorry, encourage is the verb, courage is the outcome. So to have the outcome of courage, you need to encourage yourself and others. And that's another way in which to take a look at how these elements, okay, they interact with one another. So give yourself the opportunity to take a look at how these layer themselves up and form ways in which to live your legacy life. So that's something to be thinking about is this course corrections that you need to do. Have the courage to go through it. Have the collaboration, the encouragement of collaboration, even of yourself, and to figure out what's the root causes that might be giving you that lackluster contributions, giving you those lackluster outcomes. So give yourself that space in which to do that work and find out what's going on. So that is why when we unleash our 2025 goals, this legacy project, and you deal with the common fears, and you ask yourself why, when things get in the way, even the fears, that is a great way to move into 2025 with a smile on your face, isn't it? So again, let me know, has this landed for you that you will take up your legacy project You will unleash your 2025 goals. You don't have to state what they are, but put something down that is an acknowledgement that you are. Maybe you want to say, hey, listen, I figured out what my fear is. Don't have to say it specifically, and I'm going to deal with it. And I like what you gave me as a bit of an idea. And in moving forward, which one of these three might have been getting in the way? And now you're going to move forward. You're going to go and listen to those wonderful prompt shorts, take out your journal and figure out ways in which to move yourself forward. So that's where I wanted to go today, was how do you bring all of this together and say, hey, listen, there's something here that is going to help me, all right, in 2025. What is it that I can do to really make a difference? So I offer to you in being for the world with the planet. And if I can be of assistance in any of this, please reach out. And someone actually did that. And that's why I want to do the questions component. So to have this one work out for us, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go grab the question. And here it is. Why? Okay, I just got to. Why do persons over 50, why do they, why must they start a legacy project? They had a much longer. I'm just trying to give you the paraphrase. Why is it important? Let me do it this way. Why are persons over 50? Why is it important to start a legacy project? And they specifically had put in 50s. So I asked them, I actually went back and I asked them, I said, why did you use 50s and not 60s or 40s or whatever? He says, well, I'm in my 50s. I'm near the tail end of it. I'm looking at my 60s. I'm looking at that 65, that number that seems to pop up a little bit more in my life. So why is it important to start a legacy project in my 50s? Why don't I just wait till my 60s? I went, oh, okay. And this is what I shared back, and then I'll elaborate on a little bit more here as well. I said, think about, when's the best time to plant a tree? Now, right? 20 years ago may even been better. So if you're going to start your legacy project, you could start doing it in your 60s. Wouldn't it be better to start in your 50s? Thinking about it, even if it's just doodling, sketching out, mind mapping, sitting in a chair with a cup of coffee in the morning and just writing some notes to yourself, getting out that journal and watching some of these shorts I keep sharing with you. Start it in your 50s. I would go so far as, if I had my druthers, I would encourage 40s to start really thinking about it. And I just saw a reference to a younger person working with youth leadership using a legacy lens. Now, I don't know the extent of it, but that was what they called it, was youth leadership legacy. I went, oh, that's great. I'm going to have to go dig around and see what's going on there. That intergenerational, go back and see what they're talking about. But what I want to emphasize is, start now. If you haven't started your legacy project, living your legacy life, start today. Watching this video, start today. Watching this video, start today. If you've done something before, great. Start today. The significance of it is so important. Get out of your comfort zone, move through that, figure out what's out there, and have fun doing it. Find the fun, tap into the fulfillment, tap into the freedom that it offers you as you interact and collaborate with others. You are in this whole sense of being for the world, with the planet. That's what's important here, because when you do so, what you can do is say, hey, listen, I am going to deal with my fears. Now, I didn't get a chance to go through these fears with that person. I just shared what I just shared, but adding more to it while we're here in the video, And I've encouraged that person to come and watch the video. And I'm not going to say if he's here live or not. I'll leave that for another time. Maybe they want to share a note or something. I'll leave it at that. But now what you can do is by dealing with living a legacy life, you can start dealing with some of these fears that you might have, because really, remember, they are something in the future that's an illusion that you believe will cause you more pain and pleasure. Don't allow that to influence the life that you want to live, this legacy life, living it with fun, freedom, fulfillment. And by doing that, what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I'm going to take a look at what might be holding me back. What is it that's a root cause of holding me back? Could be the fear, it could be something else. How can I encourage collaboration with myself, but also with others, family, friends, work colleagues, community? How can I get some collaboration going around something that we can do together from a legacy point of view? What's the courage that I need to do a course correction? Hey, my life may be, I'm sort of going along, everything's okay. Yeah, oh, hang on, I'm going to do a course correction. Oh, hang on, I'm going to do a pivot. I leave it to you which way you want to do it. I've got a bit of what I'm going to call a pivot. I'm going to be moving somewhere else, and I'm going to be looking for a place where I can chop my firewood. I'll still have the modern convenience, but I want to be able to heat and sit by the fire. I also want to have a place where there's water nearby where I'm living. I can't see water at the moment. I want to be able to see water. So I'm going to go through a pivot. And 71st year, pivot. Ooh, here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay. And have some fun doing that. So that was what I wanted to share with you today, okay, around unleashing 2025 goals for your legacy project, some common fears, give you some stories that I thought may be of assistance. Again, pop any comments down below. Moving forward, ask yourself why things may be slow for you and figure out some of that. I went through this question for you. Hopefully that gave you a few more ideas. And so I would ask you to come back and watch more videos. There are lots of videos on the channel. There's long videos, short videos, other lives that are here. I will be posting into the post section, sometimes called community, on some YouTube front dashboards. So look for those as well. Down in the description is information about the website if you want to go down there. But also, if there's anything of a question you have for me, is there a topic you'd like me to cover? I want to do in the new year, I'm going to do one on ethical decision making. And it will be more of a 3-hour workshop than it is like this sort of style, where I get on for anywhere from 34 minutes to 89 minutes, anywhere in there. Today I broke the 55-minute barrier that I sort of set for myself. Not barrier in the sense that it would stop me, but a prompt, I guess, my 55 prompt. So again, if I can be of assistance, let me know with topics and we'll take it from there. I think that covers everything. I wish you the best in the weeks ahead for the holiday season. And let's make sure that 2025, you're running into it, bicycling into it, busing into it, walking across the bridge, grabbing a boat and going somewhere so that you can have this fun, freedom, and fulfillment as a part of living your legacy life. Take care.